In this video, I'm going to give you the three main factors that go into creating a high converting product page for your e-commerce website. Now, if you're a business owner who runs an e-commerce store and you're running traffic to it, you're running ads to it, and you're seeing drop off occur on your product pages, then check this video out because it's just for you. Welcome to my channel. My name is Rich AK and I build and scale e-commerce brands just like yours. In this video, we're going to be focusing on the product pages and the three most important factors that go into creating a good product page. Now, chances are you haven't looked at or revised your product pages and the descriptions on those product pages in months, if not years, since you've last updated them. And today, we're going to be going over some critical steps. And so you'll have some actionable things at the end of this video to check out and actually go in and implement on your own website. So let's get started right away. The first important factor is confidence. Now, it's a very broad term, but when it comes to confidence, we can actually break this down into a couple of different components. Confidence can come from a variety of different things. One of them is actually having conviction and understanding in the products that you sell. If you understand your market, if you understand the people that you sell to, if you understand your customer, those are all parts of conviction and confidence that you can portray in that website on those product pages, whether it's through text and copy, whether it's through the images that you use, the way you set up those images, video, or it could even be user-generated content. Next in confidence is actually showcasing your craftsmanship. When I make these videos on YouTube, I understand that e-commerce has a huge range of different types of products and services and offers that are given and sold all over the world. But there's something to be said about showcasing the craftsmanship. And this is especially true if you are a company that prides itself in creating products within your own factories, within your own stores, within your own communities. If you have access to the products that you create and you're not just drop shipping things from across the seas, then you can showcase that craftsmanship. You can showcase your understanding and your knowledge that goes into creating those products. Now, don't overlook this. Don't think that this is something that's just interesting to you and not to your customer. Your customers will actually find this really fascinating because if they can see how their products are made, they instantly put you up as an authority in this market, and B, they trust you and your products. They trust that you can actually deliver on the things that you sell, which for a lot of companies can't be actually told about them. So make sure that if you have those kinds of abilities, you showcase that within your product pages and lay it out in a way that makes sense to the user. Number two on my critical list of factors for your product pages is to solve and showcase pain points or to amplify desires. So this obviously changes and differs for every e-commerce company that watches this because some companies are a lot more focused on solving pain points for a customer. If a customer already has a pain, if they have a problem they need to solve, whether it's for their body, their surroundings, their family, their people, then you know that you have to really more focus on those pain points in order to get them to buy because those are just the types of products you sell. Now, if you move to the other end of that spectrum, you sell clothing, you sell high-end furniture, you sell makeup, you're not exactly solving a problem. You're not exactly solving a pain. Instead, what you're doing is you're amplifying their desire to go and purchase your product. And so a lot of this stuff is very contextual. Now let's get started with the pain point. If you solve pains for your customers, the number one way to go in and refresh your copy, refresh your media, refresh everything on your product pages is to look at the reviews that have come in over time from your existing customers. Look at their language. How do they describe their problems? How does your product help them solve their problems? What kind of applications have they used in order to solve problems with your product? Go through, analyze it. If you need to make a spreadsheet, go ahead and make a spreadsheet. I personally find it a lot more easier to just create a list of things and then pick and choose stuff while I'm creating copy for that product page. Now, if you go into the other end of that spectrum, we're going to be more focused on desires. We're going to be more focused on amplifying that want. Why does the customer want to buy this? Not why do they need to buy this, right? So if you're selling high-end clothing, for example, one of the greatest things that you can do that's actually very undervalued on product pages today is showcasing that wear, that attire in a more contextual manner versus just having a white box setup for that product. A lot of people just take photos of the jacket, they just take photos of the jeans, they just take photos of the shoes. I think that you should be taking more contextual photos of that product in action. Think about the things that you post on your Instagram and start actually converting that over to your product pages. Because when the customer is searching through your website, they want to have a similar feeling of that amplified desire, of that want, that they can see themselves wearing this product. It's a lot harder to visualize yourself wearing a product when it's just done in a light box with a white background and nothing else around it, or if it's just a single model standing there wearing that product with one specific outfit. If you have the opportunity to go take it into a contextual surrounding, if you create more of a street attire look, go out into the street, go out and find a really cool alley or look or park or something that gives that user the feeling of actually being there. That's going to amplify their desire. It's going to take them up a notch. If you do outerwear, if you do mountain wear or terraneous wear or something like that, do it in a more outside environment where there's nature and things like that, where they're hiking, where there's trails, because that's going to amplify their desire. They're going to see themselves in that location. They're going to see themselves wearing your product in that environment. And that's what's going to amplify them to the next level. So don't try to separate the two things between just having an Instagram and just having your website and having different photos for each. I think it's really important to have a contextual understanding when you're actually looking at the product on the product page. And the same thing goes for someone who has a need that needs to be solved. If you can give people contextual understanding around that pain point, around how we want to solve that problem, then it's going to give them an understanding. They're going to be able to put themselves into a scenario where they already feel like they can solve that problem. You go over their limiting beliefs and you give them a new ability to think about their problems differently. And that is going to increase your conversions. That is going to increase your authority in the space, and it's going to get you customers for a lifetime. Now, my final and last point that I want to bring up for you today is a problem that I see more often than not, and it has to do with the way your hierarchy is set up on your website. When an e-commerce store is being built out by most business owners, they can see things from a very single dimensional perspective. And I'm not saying that in any kind of derogatory sense, but most websites are built out because they see a desktop version in mind first, and then they see the mobile version. But what I actually end up seeing constantly happen over and over again is that desktop version just gets condensed right down to a mobile version. It creates a lot of clutter. It creates a lot of confusion, and it destroys the hierarchy that the e-commerce owner set out to build in the first place. So if you have a proper hierarchy in a desktop version, but the moment you scale it down to a mobile screen size, you just have a ton of different boxes and a ton of different places that are going on all over the place, that's going to destroy the hierarchy of your page, whether you realize it or not. If you create too much clutter, it makes it hard for a person to digest what they're looking at. And so you can even go check this out yourself. Go into your Instagram app, click on that little shop icon, and just look for the first promoted post. Generally, I like to look at websites and businesses that are promoting actively on Instagram because they have a little bit of money to spend. So they generally know what they're doing a little better than most people who just put up a website here and there and call it a day. So look for a promoted post, look for a company that's reputable, and then go to their website, go to their direct product pages. Look at what you see. You're going to see a ton of elements. You're going to see a ton of stuff happening all at once. You're going to have pop-ups, you're going to have boxes, you're going to have little opt-ins, you're going to have all different types of things, and there's no actual sustainable hierarchy besides just having that header and having the first product image. And so speaking of product images, let's actually jump into that for just 1 second. What I see as a really big problem is, once again, the product images are generally built out as galleries on your e-commerce website, which there's no problem with that part, especially if you're doing it on a desktop. The problem occurs when you take those types of gallery images and you condense it down into a mobile screen size. Think about the way user flow and user interaction happens on an app like Instagram or an app on TikTok, right? Like they're constantly scrolling. There's no such thing as scroll fatigue for a user on Instagram. They can scroll for 3.5 hours every single day and not get bored or tired. But the moment we land on an e-commerce product page, what happens? We totally change the user flow of that page. Instead of scrolling up and down, we have to start scrolling left and right, because all we did was take the existing gallery on our product page and squeeze it down into a much smaller format. So the user who just spent 2.5 hours scrolling up and down and just perfecting that motor function beyond any reasonable doubt now has to think about your website in a very different manner, and they have to start scrolling left and right. So if you have the capabilities of doing this, what I recommend doing is actually hiding the gallery on smaller screen sizes and instead displaying your images, displaying your product in a scroll-like fashion. But be methodical about this. Don't just have 400 images stacked up all at once and then have all of your other call to actions and your product information, your product descriptions down at the bottom. Instead, break the content up, make it easy to digest. Think about how an Instagram or a TikTok works. Every single product image has a caption underneath it, right? Any single image in general has a caption underneath it, and that's how we digest this information. So if you can follow a similar format where you might have 1 or 2 images stacked and then have a little call out section, it'll make it a lot easier for that user to digest that information. On top of that, you don't have to worry about not having enough. You don't have to worry about just having one call to action. You can replicate your buttons so that as they're scrolling down the page, they're constantly being given the opportunity to go ahead and purchase that product over and over and over again. So when it comes to mobile screen sizes, don't worry about that scroll fatigue, because that does not exist in today's day and age. That might exist on a desktop version where there's a above the fold scenario going on, but if you give people compelling content, if you give people like an ability to actually see and view your products in a contextual manner as an image similar to how they would on Instagram, then you should not be worried about that. Instead, think more methodically about how you can lay that content out. So that's my 3 main components for this video. I think those factors are often overlooked because we're so used to creating product pages and our e-commerce stores in this very cookie cutter way. Like, we've been given a template, we've been given a theme, and this is just how it works, and we don't question it. We never that asked to think to ourselves, hey, how can we make this easier to digest? Instead, we often take the opposite route and we start thinking about, hey, I want to add this feature and I want to add this feature and I want to add this feature. And all of a sudden, if you follow my advice today and you go in and you look at any promoted e-commerce store on Instagram, you're going to see this exact same thing that I see, which is you're going to click on their product page and there's going to be 400 different little call out sections all on top of the page trying to fight for the same space. Your customers don't care about all those callouts. What they care about is seeing the product that they were interested in clicking on in the first place. So if we can make that stuff front and center first, if we can feed them and amplify their needs, their desires, their wants, then we can start increasing our conversion, we can start reducing our drop-off rate, and we can really start building out our equity in terms of our authority in the market. So I hope this video helps you out. My name is Rich AK. I just started this channel. I'm trying to show people how we build and scale e-commerce brands just like yours. I run a company called AK Growth. And if you like this video, please leave me a like. If you have questions for me, please leave me a comment down below. I will make sure to respond to it. And if you have friends who are in the e-commerce space who also run businesses just like yours, please send them this video, share this message, share the video. I hope you like this, and I'll see you soon.